Hello and welcome. We're really excited to have everyone here today for our weekly OCI Deep Dive. For those of you who may be new to our events, we're hosted on Cloud Customer Connect, our Oracle community forums for end users. My name is Catherine Jennings. I'm with the Observability and Management Product Management team. And today we're joined by Aaron Reimel, Principal Product Manager, and Anna McCullough, Senior Director of Product Management, who will be taking us through OCI Stack Monitoring. Aaron, go ahead and take it away. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I am Aaron Reimel, as she said, and I also have the always wonderful Anna McCullough here with me. And today we're going to roll through some getting to know the OCI Stack Monitoring service. Objectives for today. So we'll go over a little bit about monitoring challenges. Obviously, what is Stack Monitoring? We'll cover the solution overview and how easy it is now to set up Stack Monitoring and to be able to get started. We'll also review how to go out and configure some alarms and then give you a demonstration, because it's always a lot more fun to actually see the product than listen to me talk and click on some buttons. So look forward to going through all this with you. Monitoring challenges. All right. So many observability and management tools, they specialize on specific aspects of applications, and this makes it really siloed. And it's really hard to get that perspective of the application and its underlying application stack. So that's like your application servers, your databases, your hosts, instead of giving you that holistic view. And then you have operations teams who have to use all of these specialized tools that, some are good at database, and some are good at applications, and some are good at logs, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? And many of these tools you guys have to manage. And now you've got to go upgrade it, patch it, do all the things, IDP, everything else that's involved with this. And so now you've got to spend hours that you guys don't already have to upgrade, maintain these tools over time. And many of them are general purpose, right? So it's just meant for, you can monitor anything under the sun and, go out and good luck. To give you a little perspective, I've spent 15 years monitoring and managing very strict SLA applications. And I felt that pain every single day of my life. And everything you have to two-factor into, which is good, but it's also, time is money, and every minute of an SLA for me was hundreds of minutes of accumulated SLAs for the downstream applications. So I know all too well of logging into all these different applications and trying to overlay database performance against maybe web logic and trying to understand how, whether or not a spike in this database is really at the exact same time, right? You got to open up the different tools. It was a mess and it wasn't easy to use. So today what we're going to do is we're going to go over how Stack Monitoring helps meet those challenges. And it's a cloud-based solution to discover and monitor, Oracle application stack technologies, including databases, but it could also be, Apache Tomcat. And because it's cloud-based, you don't ever have to go patch it. You just get to walk in one day and, hey, look at this, all these new upgrades, right? It provides built-in monitoring of your Oracle application technologies, and enables your operations team to quickly monitor the overall status, performance, and health. And then you can go and configure alarms against any of these metrics that are just out there for you out of the box. So, Stack Monitoring, it's who we are and it's what we're about. And it's funny because anytime I try and write a blog, I'm constantly, which I also, we'll give you links to that in case you guys want to read up more on Stack Monitoring after this. But it is frustratingly difficult because I'm constantly, it's Stack Monitoring. It's where you can monitor your entire application stack. So you're constantly using these two words over and over again. It's a good problem to have, but it lets you proactively monitor an application and its underlying application stack, including those application servers and the databases. So the first thing you do is you go and you you promote your host. You enable this rich set of monitoring on your hosts. And then it also allows you to be able to understand what's running on that host. Resource discovery. We don't want you to go in and fill out a whole bunch of files and try and understand the configuration and the relationships and what resources need to be monitored inside of. We want to make that easy for you. And so you just simply fill in the box. And then you get these out-of-the-box metric sets. We'll build you a home page, and then we'll also give you some topology that allows you to navigate up and down that application stack. So for hosts, we spoke about that. We support, it doesn't matter whether you're running OCI Compute, you're running on-premise, or you're running in another cloud. We'll support your Linux, your Solaris, and Windows hosts. From the middleware, today we support Oracle WebLogic, so infrastructure, MFT, Apache Tomcat, and databases, Oracle databases, Microsoft SQL servers, and applications like eBusiness Suite and PeopleSoft. And for a whole list of everything that we do, we've got a Moss note down there to give you more, to give you all of that information. But within eBusiness Suite and PeopleSoft, we also monitor all the different pieces of the puzzle that you also need. And you don't have to be an expert in that to go figure that out. We'll discover your concurrent manager, your notification mailer, or in PeopleSoft, we'll go get that process scheduler domain or PIA or whatever, all those different pieces. So Stack Monitoring, it's found in the OCI console under Observability and Management, and it's underneath the APM menu, Stack Monitoring. Once again, the Stack Monitoring is available whether you're running in the cloud, on-premise, or another cloud provider. So setting up the service. Our dev team, and we have a few folks on here today from our dev team, and they're the brains behind all of this. Brilliant folks that help make this work super easy for you, and they're here to answer any of your questions. So fill in that Q&A, and they can help you out. But to enable our service, it's really just a two-step process. You figure out the compartment you want to use, and then you enable the service. You just simply navigate over there, click the little button that says Enable Stack Monitoring, and we'll show you the entire process of what user groups we need that we'll go create and what policies will apply to those. That way you know exactly what changes are being made on your system. And while we've been sitting here, this is an almost real time of me enabling the service in one of our temporary dev domains. So it was literally that quick and simple. Host monitoring. So this is another area where we've made recent improvements. Enabling host monitoring, this again provides that rich set of monitoring for the host and visibility into the resources that are running on the host. And for an OCI Compute, where I noticed that several of you are within OCI, and Stack Monitoring makes it super easy to get started. So once you complete that easy onboard process, then you just slide on over here to the Promote resource screen, and you'll be able to go in and click. You'll get a whole list. As soon as you provision an OCI Compute, we will automatically prepare a job for you. So you simply navigate over to Stack Monitoring, find the host you wish to promote, click the button, verify the host name looks correct, add any OCI tag that you might have, because Stack Monitoring is able to filter and sort by OCI tags. So from there, you verify the name, give it an OCI tag like production or a sandbox server or whatever it is, and hit promote. And that's all it takes. Once the job completes, we'll automatically begin collecting that rich set of metrics. And again, this is Linux, Windows Server, and Solaris. So once the host is discovered, or once the host is promoted, then we're going to the next best thing is to go discover your Oracle database or Microsoft SQL Server, for instance. So for example, in discovering an Oracle database, you simply click on Discover New Resource, and here we've selected a non-container DB, but you would select an Oracle database, a PDB, etc. And we support PDBs, CDBs, and non-CDBs. You give it a resource name. You give it the host name, a port, the service name, select the agent that's monitoring it, and give it a username and password. Now, there are prerequisites that you need to follow. It makes sense that in order to monitor your database, that monitoring user, such as DBS and MP, or we have a reduced user privilege that we have documented that has least privileges, and it has lesser privileges than, say, DBS and MP. So whether you're using any of those users, they need to at least have the privileges to go monitor the database itself. And that's a lot of the prerequisites that are mentioned here. But again, it's a simple fill in the blank. Again, we give you the opportunity to add the tags right when you're doing your discovery, and it allows you to get started. So within a few minutes, we're going to begin collecting all of those metrics on that Oracle database. WebLogic discovery is not all that much different. So I'm going to give you a few examples here. This could be Apache Tomcat. We'll talk about SOA and MFT here in a moment. But all of our resources, we have it outlined to be this easy to go and get started. So for WebLogic, we give it a name, connection details, pick your monitoring agent, your monitoring credentials, any OCI tags, and it'll discover the WebLogic domain, the WebLogic cluster, and the WebLogic servers. And it will create the relationships between all of those to give you that navigational topology. And now, whenever you discover a WebLogic, it will automatically discover any SOA or MFT application that's running inside of your WebLogic. So you simply do this one little thing, and you can go discover all of that, as well as build those. It will also build those SOA and MFT relationships in there for you. And once again, monitoring starts as soon as the discovery completes. So we talk about this. This one's EBS. We have eBusiness Suite Discovery, and the same is for PeopleSoft. We've got a set of prerequisites, like your monitoring user needs to be able to read the EBS schema, for instance, right? So all of our prerequisites are outlined in our documentation. But to discover an EBS, you give it a name, database details, WebLogic details, any OCI tags. And now this thing is going to go out and it's going to discover your WebLogic. It's going to discover your EBS, your WebLogic servers, your concurrent managers, all those pieces, and build all of those relationships inside of that, for that navigational topology. Alarms. All right, so every time that you go and do one of these discoveries, immediately after you do the discovery, we start collecting all of these metrics out of the box for each one of these resource types. And I know that whenever you're working with a bunch of, disparate monitoring systems, you've got to go set up monitoring and notification rules, whether you're sending messages to Slack or you're sending emails or whatever it is. You have to go create that in each one of these tools that you have. And that's one of the things that's really nice about Oracle's observability and management tools. It doesn't matter whether you're using Stack Monitoring, Logging Analytics, APM, database management, OCI, et cetera. All of those use the same OCI monitoring service and OCI notification service. So you go in and you create your topics and your email rules and distribution lists, et cetera, one time, and all of these services all use the same means to go notify you when an alarm fires. It all operates on time series data. And the one thing to note is before creating an alarm rule, you've got to know the metric namespace and if there's a resource group associated with your resources. And we'll go over those here in the next slide. And to get into individual alarms, then you're going to specify the metric dimensions for, say, like resource name and actually provide it if you want it to be per resource. So alarm rule metric information. We mentioned this before. With Stack Monitoring providing all of these metrics for you out of the box, if we just threw all of our metrics right in the Oracle App Management namespace, which is where Stack Monitoring metrics are sent to, then you would have just this ridiculously long list of available metrics to choose from. And it would be really hard to distinguish between heap utilization in a WebLogic server and maybe Tomcat. So what Stack Monitoring has done is we've used the alarm rule resource group. So within Oracle App Management, then you can use the resource group to help, refine your search of metrics to go choose when you're creating an alarm. So if you want to measure file system utilization of a host, you would choose the Oracle App Management, select the resource group of host, and then select file system utilization. If you want to know more, if you want to do JVM heap utilization, then you're going to go grab that app management and then the WebLogic J2E server, and then you're going to go grab heap utilization. Memory use, we'll go over that one in the next slide. Now, Oracle database, on the other hand, is in Oracle_OCI_database. And since that's a very concise set of metrics, there is no resource group there, and you simply choose CPU utilization or wait event or whatever. And all of those metrics are right there for you. So to create an alarm rule is pretty simple. If you haven't already done it, start off by giving it a name, such as high JVM heap utilization. Set the severity of warning or critical, and then the alarm body. To be honest, I need to add more to this because I really want to help encourage best practices. Here we say we've got JVM heap usage is high. I would also encourage you to provide a link that sends your users to a source controlled documentation of how you solve JVM heap utilization and the correct way to triage and resolve it. I think it's really good to give them a link from right there. So I would include that in your own body. Compartment. All right, so the next set under metric description, you're going to grab the compartment. And here we've chosen Oracle Apps. And that's just the compartment that we're using for this example. And the metric namespace, again, that Oracle App Management, where Stack Monitoring sends all of its metrics. And then you have the resource group, WebLogic J2E server, with the metric name of JVM metric utilization. And because we've chosen that resource group, knowing that JVM memory utilization is for WebLogic is quite easy. Now the interval here we have at 15 minutes, and that's because you need to make sure that the interval, that you need to set that interval, it should be equal or greater to the metric collection interval. And there's a list of that inside of our metric reference documentation. For the metric dimensions, now you don't have to choose anything here, and it will just take all of the dimensions into account. But here we've specifically stated that we want to measure heap. So you could choose here either heap or non-heap. And we've chosen heap. And then our trigger rule is greater than 70%, right? Earlier, we gave this as a warning level, and maybe we set 80 or 90% for critical. And then down below, you can see the JVM memory utilization and how that's moving along, so you can get an understanding of when that alarm might have fired. And finally, I spoke about this a little bit earlier, is the destination. And the same destination and topic combination is available no matter which one of the O&M services you use. So whenever you go and configure this within Stack Monitoring, if you determine you want to use this inside of logging analytics or DB management, it's there for you. Message grouping. This is relatively new functionality that has come out, and it allows you to be able to either send an email for every single alarm that fires, or if you have 5 alarms that fire for JVM heap utilization at the same time, it's going to send you a single email notification with a list of what resources or those 5 resources that are in a firing state. And finally, you just click Save Alarm. Stack Monitoring provides a list of best practice alarms, whether it's for WebLogic or Apache Tomcat or MFT or whatever, inside of our documentation. So whenever you go and you get started, we help provide kind of that jumping off point. You might need to tweak yours for your environment just a little bit, but we try and help make it easy for you to know these are kind of some best practice alarms to go configure. And we have all that out there for you. All right, so now this is when the fun starts. Let's do a demonstration. All right, so here we are. This is where, again, I get excited because some of this stuff is fun, especially seeing that several of you are in OCI. So from the Oracle Cloud Console, we'll go up to the hamburger menu, navigate down to Observability and Management, and then under APM, Stack Monitoring. So in this demonstration, I'm not going to go through the process of how to enable the service. You got to see that in almost real time in just one of the slides. But here we already have everything all set up for you. And we'll talk about this a little bit later, but this environment is also available as one of our Oracle Live Labs. So feel free, in the end, you'll be able to get a link and go try out our live labs, and that will actually give you access to this environment to go play around and kick the tires per se, and get a little bit more information if you have questions. So the enterprise summary within Stack View is kind of meant to give you that 10,000-foot view of all of your monitored resources. From the very beginning, at the top and center is what's up and what's down inside of your enterprise. And any of these are clickable links that if you've got, we can tell you that you have 7 resources down, but clicking that 7 pulls out the slide out and gives you this list. If this list was longer than the page provides, you can either page through, or you can filter by name, you can filter by status, you can filter by type. So whatever it is that you want to see, and clicking any of these will take you to that resources homepage. We also break it down to status by resource type. So here we've got all, it doesn't matter whether it's a database or a Tomcat instance, it's in this list. Now over here, we're going to break it down by kind of like application topology, sort of, right? And we can tell you that we've got 2 app server resources that are in a down state. Now you can also come up here and click the down button, and it breaks that out across all of these. So we can see that of these 7 resources that are down, we have 1 that's a database, app server, others, EBS, etc. We can also reset that and bring it back to normal. Also at the top is the count of open alarms. So here we can see that we have 15 open alarms within our monitored resources, and clicking that button provides a slide out, and we can come in once again and filter whether we want it to be an error, critical warning, etc. We can also immediately click on any critical alarms that are firing by simply clicking the critical. So we get that information to you pretty quick, right up in center. Now the rest of the enterprise summary is broken down into tiers. And it's kind of like how I think of when I went to go triage an application. I kind of started at the application layer and slowly worked my way down, to the point where I hit the database or the host. And it's pretty similar here. Here we have eBusiness Suite, WebLogic Server, Oracle Database, and Host. And if I had 55 hosts down here, I would have 55 different dots. And that's the beauty about why we chose scatter plots. So scatter plots here are sort of like a heat map per se, and it allows you to get that view of all of your WebLogic servers or all of your Oracle databases, and identify which one might not be in a good state. In my days of monitoring resources, I might have 10 or 15 Tomcat servers in a cluster, and what I would generally do is play that game. One of these things is not like the other. That's kind of how I treated things, right? And this is a perfect example where you have this whole group bunching of hosts all down here with CPU utilization, but then you have this one little dot all over here by itself. And it could be the opposite, right? It could be that someone forgot to start the Tomcat service on one of the VMs, and now or one of the hosts, and now it's not running, and so it's not contributing to handling the load. And so you would want to know not just what's high, but what's different, right? Maybe it's at 0 and 0 almost, and you're like, okay, something's wrong here. Like it shouldn't just be idle. And that's where these scatter plots are meant to come in and help you. Now the tables give you the worst performers first, and that's like table space utilization. Here we can see, and we rank it 99.96% full. This table space for this resource. Or maybe you want to look at file system utilizations, and you can see this JDE server is at 95.66% utilized. And so that's kind of, again, this page is kind of meant to help drive you to, or bring you, elevate what might not be good in your environment. And you say, Aaron, 4 is great, but I mean, what if it's number 5 I want to look at? Well, that's where these little edit icons come in, and you can edit or update any one of these scatter plots or tables to do whatever it is that you want to do. Maybe it isn't file system, maybe it's network or memory utilization or whatever. You can easily go change that. Now, the other thing too is that, all right, so we hit advanced, and I can show every file system if I wanted to, or I can just show the top 20. Hit apply, and now instead of just the 4, I can see, because I don't have more than 20, I can see all of my file systems here and all of their most utilized file system value. Now, the same thing is true for any of these, any of the scatter plots. I can hit the pencil icon, and here we have web request rate. And maybe what I'm interested in is, I don't know, thread pool threads. We can hit apply, and now we can see, an update where we have thread pool threads by web request processing time. So it allows you to compare those two metrics. Now, if you're going to go through, and if you got an alarm for, let's say, high thread pool threads, you hit this you update this to see thread pool threads, and you get a whole perspective of all the utilization within, all your monitored resources. And you can save that as your default. You can save it as your default and continue to work this. Navigate away from this page, come back, whatever, and this page will retain this thread pool threads. Or maybe you're an Oracle DBA and you want to replace every metric on this page with just database metrics. You can do that too. And then save it as your default, and it'll always be there. Now, if you're sitting here and you're investigating thread pool threads and you decide, you know what, I'm pretty much done with thread pool threads, you can come in, click restore default, and it'll take this enterprise summary and put it right back to where it was originally. So it's there to help you identify what's wrong, what might be wrong in your environment, and give you the flexibility to quickly change metrics and investigate whatever metric you want to see when you want to see it, and then easily put that right back however it was. So with that, a lot of folks say, all right, well, there's a dot and it's high, but that's kind of a one point in time, right? Simply clicking the dot now gives me that historical perspective of how has that server been doing, right? I can look at this thing for the last 24 hours. Or maybe I want to look at this thing. Look at this PeopleSoft server. This thing is using almost 100% of its swap and almost 100% of its memory utilization. We can click that dot. We see it. We can extend it and say, well, what's it been the last 2 weeks? Pretty consistent over the last 2 weeks. Now, this is one of my favorite things, and it's comical to me that these are things I love and find that I enjoy. It speaks to me just being an IT guy. So thinking back historically and being a customer, and the heartache it went through to add memory or CPU to a host, I can see now that over the last 14 days, the memory is just getting hammered on this machine. So I haven't gone and I haven't searched for anything. I haven't done anything. I just found one dot that was out by itself, right? I can click the link up here, and as you see, it gives a little out deal. And now it's taken me to it's opening a new tab for me. And here we can see, this is the resource homepage for this host. And on this host homepage, we can see how long it's been available. Like this thing, it's been up for more than 90 days. We can get CPU utilization, memory utilization, file system utilization of root or boot or opt. We can get our disk activity and paging activity, et cetera. We came here thinking about memory, right? So we know that we've got high memory. Once again, right, all we did is click a little button. And now we're like, okay, we should probably add memory to this. We click this extra breadcrumb here at the top. That will navigate you over to the compute instance homepage. And from here, you can go add memory. And I don't know about the rest of you, but going from the days of physical hardware, even when VMs, remember when VMs were supposed to help make everything so simple, but it was still a pain to go make sure you log a ticket to the right group and put the right component and label and fill in all the, okay. That's where the beauty of, cloud computing and OCI compute comes in. But I haven't gone and I haven't searched for this PeopleSoft HCM host. I haven't done anything. I saw a couple of clicks. I followed a couple of breadcrumbs. And now here I am at a page where I can go and add the additional memory I need. And I haven't touched my keyboard. I've just been, with a couple of clicks of the mouse, I'm to the place to go make the necessary actions on the system that I needed. And these are things that you can't get anywhere except Stack Monitoring. And I can't tell you how much I love that. So let me get out of this. So I've got to close my tab. So you just close the tab, you get right back to the page where you were. So I didn't even lose context of where I was working. It opened a new tab for me. That way I can easily come right back here. And as I add memory or whatever, I can see how that impacts my service. So we've got host monitoring. Let's go look at something a little bit more complicated. Let's go take a look at like a concurrent manager. So we can, once again, click the button for the concurrent manager. Let's jump into its homepage. So the last resource we saw had been up more than 90 days, but this one, on the other hand, has been up since today at 13:14 UTC. And that's also because I make it reboot once an hour, but it's to give you something fun to look at. So here we can see over the last hour when this resource became unavailable. We can see how many current open alarms there are for this concurrent processor. There's 1 critical and 2 warning. And in the charts, we can again see the availability, but also the capacity of the concurrent managers, or the, how many completed requests are completing successfully or failing or erroring out or have with warnings. You get all that information. And again, all of this is given to you out of the box. Now, whenever we were talking about creating a resource inside of Stack Monitoring, we talked about how it can go build relationships. And so here we are we're still under concurrent processing, but under related resources, we can see that this concurrent processor is contained by this EBS application. And from this, that gives us that navigation right to the EBS application. And what you'll find here is that this EBS application, this homepage, will roll up all the alarms from all of its resources below it and give you that one-stop shop for an EBS application. So here we can see alarms for that concurrent manager, right? Remember we had 3. And we can see the 3 open alarms, and it's being shown here on the EBS page. That allows you to just go to the EBS homepage and see how the overall health, how many members are up or how many are down. And just from that perspective. And it gives you, when this thing was discovered, it went in and discovered the concurrent processor, the form system, the WebLogic domain. And you can come into the WebLogic domain and see the clusters and the members of the cluster. If you remember, we gave it a name, connection details to WebLogic and Oracle database, and it went in and found all of these relationships for you and pieced all that together. And when it does that, it does something even more fun. So, of course, we've got charts that are related to the EBS system, right? How many completed requests by application or executed programs by runtime. But what's really cool is Stack View. And we mentioned this in the very beginning, those disparate systems and not having an understanding of how one application impacts the other. But now we can come in and easily see from the EBS instance, concurrent manager, the WebLogic cluster, specifically the OA core, the heart of EBS, and Oracle database and hosts, and have an understanding that if there was a dip in whatever, did that have any, if there was a dip or a raise in thread pool threads? Was it related to this Oracle database down here? Because you can simply drag and see how one resource might have impacted another to help you be able to diagnose that. So from here, and I'm starting to run out of time, so I'm starting to rush this a little bit. But you've got the host level, whether that's CPU or memory, and this is a single EBS instance, so you're only seeing one of everything here. You've got the host, you've got the EBS, you've got the thread pool threads and the JVM memory utilization. I don't know how deep your on-call schedule is, but I used to try and build dashboards for my team to say, hey, this will help you in a downtime. And they were always so busy, they couldn't go get all those things built. And so it doesn't matter how deep your on-call schedule is, we've assembled this entire thing for you, whether this is EBS or PeopleSoft. You can jump right in and see the stack view of your entire application and see those components that we think are the most important to help gauge whether or not your EBS or PeopleSoft is healthy. What I got here is I've got an easy QR code for you to go grab, and it gives you that link to be able to go look at, all the different blogs that we've written about all the different releases and features. Once again, that Live Labs, so that environment that you saw that I was just playing around in, that's the exact place where the Live Labs lets you get to go play. And you can go in, click on the different charts, and use the navigational topology and all the different fun things and pieces that I didn't get to cover. So feel free to check out our Live Labs. And there's also, the getting started guide and all that stuff. It's all there. And I try to make it really easy to just scan one link so you could find just about everything you need.
That's a great idea, Aaron. All right, everyone. That concludes our session today. I will be posting the links to the replay for this recording later on the CCC site. So give us a day or so to get that up. And thank you so much for your interest and participation. Have a great rest of your day.